Bienvenidos! Welcome everybody! Today we're going to talk about gustar and similar verbs in Spanish. Gustar is usually translated as to like in English, but its structure is quite different in Spanish. In Spanish, it doesn't mean I like in the same way that English verbs work. Instead, it literally means to be pleasing to. This makes the sentence structure unique. In English, for example, we can say, I like the book. In Spanish, we would say, me gusta el libro. The literal Spanish translation is, the book is pleasing to me. So let's take the example, me gusta el libro. First, we see the indirect object pronoun, me. Then we see the verb gusta from gustar, it's conjugated. And then we see the subject, the thing being liked. This structure is quite different. We tend to see subject, verb, and complement. For example, yo como pizza, I eat pizza. But here we use the indirect object pronoun. And we have different indirect object pronouns for the different persons. So we already saw me, which means to me or for me, me. Te, to or for you, for the informal you, te. Le, to or for him, to or for her, or to or for you, for the formal singular you, le. Nos, to or for us. Os, to or for you all, the informal plural you, mainly used in Spain. Les, to or for them, or to or for you for the plural you, usually used in Latin America. So these object pronouns are used in combination with the verb gustar and other similar verbs to create a full sentence. The indirect object pronoun corresponds to the person receiving the liking, not the thing being liked. Alright, so in the structure we have the indirect object pronouns, and then we have the verb gustar. It's conjugated, but it's conjugated to the thing being liked. So it usually has a singular form, gusta. So if the thing being liked is singular, it's a singular noun, we use gusta. If it's a plural noun, we use gustan. And these conjugations don't change. They're used the same way for all the different persons. Let's take a look at some examples to put everything together. Me gusta la música. Me gusta la música. I like music. So we see me and then gusta because la música it's singular. Te gustan las películas. Te gustan las películas. You like movies. Here, gustan is conjugated that way because las películas is in plural. Le gusta el chocolate. Le gusta el chocolate. He or she likes chocolate. Or it could be for the formal you as well. Le gustan las flores. Le gustan las flores. Again here, he or she likes flowers. If we want to be more specific about the person, we can add a él, which would translate to him, a él, or a ella, which would translate to her, but we're specifying who likes something. A él le gusta el chocolate. He likes chocolate. A ella le gustan las flores. She likes flowers. If we just say le gusta or le gustan, we don't know who we're talking about. And we use a él or a ella to be more specific. We can do that with the other pronouns as well. Let's continue with the examples and then we'll come back to this topic. Nos gusta leer. Nos gusta leer. We like to read. Os gusta el teatro. Os gusta el teatro. You all like theater. Les gustan los deportes. Les gustan los deportes. They like sports. Les gusta cantar. Les gusta cantar. You all like singing, or they like singing. If we want to be very specific about the person or the persons that are experiencing the action, we can use a, which is the preposition to and a pronoun or a noun before we say the sentence. So going back through the sentences that we just learned, me gusta la música, we could say a mí me gusta la música. So we add a and then that pronoun me just for emphasis. It's not needed, but sometimes we need to say it. A mí me gusta la música. It's still the same meaning. I like music. We would not use yo. We wouldn't say yo in this case. For the informal you, we would use a ti. A ti. A ti te gustan las películas. You like movies. A ti te gustan las películas. For the other persons, we would actually just use the same personal pronouns that we can use with other verbs, but we have to use the prepositional a. That makes it 2 or 4. A él le gusta el chocolate. He likes chocolate. A él. A ella. A ella le gustan las flores. She likes flowers. A usted le gusta viajar. A usted le gusta viajar. Usted, the formal you. A nosotros. A nosotros nos gusta leer. We like to read. A nosotros, for the first person plural. We will use nosotras for an all-female group. A nosotras. And then for the second person plural, a vosotros or a vosotras. Os gusta el teatro. You all like theater. And then we could use a ellos, they. A ellos les gustan los deportes. They like sports. We will use ellas for a female group. A ustedes. A ustedes les gusta cantar. You all like singing. A ustedes. We could also just use a name. A María le gusta bailar. A María le gusta bailar. María likes dancing. Or, a los niños les gustan los juegos. A los niños les gustan los juegos. The children like games. A los niños les gustan los juegos. I know that personal a is confusing in Spanish, and we don't have to use it. We can just use the indirect object pronouns that we saw before. But for emphasis, especially for him or her, él or ella, it's important to know how to use these words. All right, so there are other verbs that work similarly to gustar. For example, encantar. Encantar. It means to love or to really like something. Me encanta la pizza. I love pizza. Me encanta la pizza. Me encantan tus ideas. Me encantan tus ideas. I love your ideas. So we see the same thing here. For a singular noun, we use encanta. For a plural noun, we use encantan. Encanta or encantan, they don't change based on the person. It's based on the noun. We also have aburrir. Aburrir means to bore or to be bored. A los niños les aburre la clase. A los niños les aburre la clase. The class bores the children. So again, with the translation, it's a little bit different, but it really means that the kids are being bored by the class. And we use aburre for a singular noun. We use aburren for a plural noun. We can also use doler. Doler means to hurt. Me duele la cabeza. Me duele la cabeza. My head hurts. Duele for singular nouns. Duelen for plural nouns. Faltar, to lack or to need. For example, nos falta dinero para el viaje. Nos falta dinero para el viaje. We lack money for the trip. Falta for singular nouns. Faltan for plural nouns. Fascinar. Fascinar. To be fascinated by something. A ellos les fascina la ciencia. A ellos les fascina la ciencia. Science fascinates them, or they are fascinated by science. Fascina for singular nouns, fascinan for plural nouns. Importar, to matter or to care about. A él no le importa el dinero. A él no le importa el dinero. He doesn't care about money. So here we see a él because we're being specific. He. Molestar. Molestar. To be bothered by something or to be annoyed. Nos molesta el ruido. Nos molesta el ruido. The noise bothers us. So to create questions or negative sentence with these verbs is very easy in Spanish. The question could really just be the declarative sentence. We just have to give it that question intonation. For example, te duele la cabeza. You have a headache or your head hurts. If I want to ask you instead of saying it, I would just say it as a question. ¿Te duele la cabeza? ¿Te duele la cabeza? And that works for the other sentences to just give it that question intonation. Now, to say you don't have a headache, it's very simple. We just add no at the beginning. No te duele la cabeza. No te duele la cabeza. We would just put no before the indirect object pronoun. So, on the example about importar, a él no le importa el dinero. No goes between a él and le before the indirect object pronoun. Alright, I hope this is helpful, and if you want to learn more about Spanish verbs, here's a video for you. Muchas gracias.